You are now tuned in to Millenni-HER. The Millenni-HER. You are now tuned in to Millenni-HER podcast. Millenni-HER. You are now tuned in to Millenni-HER podcast. Tuned in to Millenni-HER. Tuned in to Millenni-HER podcast.
Hey, what's up? It's Charles from the Millenni-HER podcast, bringing you a second episode of Cultural Kickback, where I sit down with one of hip-hop's finest from Jersey to just discuss everything hip-hop and to see what he has going on. So I'm going to introduce Quis Chandla. Hey, Quis. So I'm excited because we have a lot to talk about, and I know you're a big hip-hop head, and I'm also a big hip-hop head. So I definitely want to exchange some ideas with you about the current state of hip hop now. But before we jump into this interview and you introduce yourself, I got to know, what's your favorite hip hop album of all times?
My favorite hip hop album of all time. There's been a lot of great albums within the last couple of years, but let me see. I actually have a picture of my favorite hip hop album of all time, if you know what it is.
Yes. Yes, I was hoping you would say that. I was hoping you would say that.
Illmatic is definitely my favorite hip hop album of all time, just because of the groundbreaking things that it did. Nas definitely helped change the way people looked at underserved communities from a musical standpoint, and also being able to help kind of change the way people told stories in this genre, and the cadence, the delivery, it was all different. You know, it was definitely groundbreaking.
Okay, so since you spoke about Nas, who would you say is your influences? And if you had to do hip hop Mount Rushmore, who's on your top five on your hip hop Rushmore?
Question. See, when people ask this question, they always ask you like, well, who's your favorite or who's your top five? But if you say Mount Rushmore, you're talking about a lot of different things with regards to influence, with regards to impact, and style and talent. So if I had to do a Mount Rushmore, of course I would put Nas and Hov on there. And then the other two that would fill it out, I would probably say, especially since we have to look at it from a wide range of like generational influence, probably Wayne.
Okay.
And I kind of want to say Rakim.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Well, you got one more because you only said four.
Rushmore's 4 or 5?
4. It's 5 altogether.
Okay. Is it 4 or 5? Either way, if I had to put a fifth, then the fifth would be definitely Biggie.
Okay. That's a good top 5. It's a little different from mine, but I mean, I guess.
I mean, where would you go?
Okay, so I would say Nas, Pac, Big, and then Kendrick and Cole.
Okay, I'm not mad at that at all. We definitely have to get into the conversation of putting, Kendrick Cole and a few others on that list of people who have stamped.
And if it was 6 people, of course, Hov is up there. But I just wanted to kind of squeeze in old school and new school.
Yeah, I got you.
So tell our listeners who you are.
So I am Quis Chandla, Q-U-I-S-C-H-A-N-D-L-A. I'm a rap artist as well as educator, political activist, dot connector, event coordinator, creative director from Jersey. I do pretty much everything. So whether it's teaching in the classroom, whether it's, jumping on stages and, having shows that I'm curating and stuff like that, or being on all streaming platforms. That's pretty much what I do. In a way that I try to make receivable for those who can appreciate both hip hop in its rarest form and also education and learning and having thought-provoking conversations in the most deepest form.
Okay. And you spoke about your background a little bit. Your background is in social work. How do you use your music to bridge hip hop with mental health?
So at first it was kind of very difficult to bridge the two because I didn't really see any, I didn't see really any influences of people who are like really deep in education, but also deep in the culture of hip hop. So I kept the two worlds separate for a very long time. Though in social work, you talk a lot about things that are going on in the community, people that are not able to access resources that they need, coming from the hood or coming from places of poverty. And in my own experience in going through those trials and tribulations, eventually I was able to express myself and talk about some of the things that I went through in my life through music. And then afterwards, getting a bachelor's, a master's in social work, and a PhD in social work, I was able to see that there are ways to weave the two together. And as I started to become more of an expert in both fields, it made it a little bit easier to talk about, underserved populations, those different communities, how to be able to be a change agent, how to solve some of these problems with social injustices, but also make it in a way where it's entertaining. And that's through the use of, my lyrical ability, cadence, hooks, so on and so forth. So, it's very great because we try to get these messages across to people to let them know exactly what some of the issues are. But at the same time, you don't want to be too preachy, right? It's kind of like you want to teach in entertainment. So at this point, it's being able to get different opportunities for speaking engagements like this one right here, as well as being able to hit certain stages and in between some of the songs, right? Give little tidbits about, things that people might not have the opportunity to speak about in, artist platform or artist curated event.
Okay, that sounds good. So you fall under the genre of conscious rap, which is like with the Nas's, the Lupe's, J. Cole. What do you feel like is your main message?
So it's funny because when I first started to get placed in the genre of conscious rap, I didn't like it, because I didn't want to be placed too much in the box of what conscious rap message seemed to always be. It's like, oh, he's going to be teaching us something, or you're going to be giving us a message, and it's like the message is deep, but I want you to be able to be entertained in the same realm. So later on, what I kind of try to do is look at the people that I'm really speaking to, speaking to those that are, still in the trenches and trying to find a way to be able to change their life around, for the better. Nobody wants to grow up and put themselves in situations where they possibly go to jail, for years and years throughout their life. Eventually, you want to retire and move on to something else that's more lucrative. Message. So I kind of use the approach as not even just being a conscious rapper, but trying to, build this genre of what I call street conscious. And it's kind of being thought provoking and enlightening to those that may not have the knowledge to understand their communities, to understand systemic racism, social injustice, and what that looks like, and how you not only survive through that by doing in some form any means that you can to survive, but also finding a way to reform yourself in another way to be able to take care of yourself, take care of your family, and make the impact that you want to in a more positive form than you did in the previous.
Okay. So would you say that you're independent? And if so, what are the challenges that you face with being an independent artist?
I'm definitely independent. I actually have a production team that I am co-founder of called True Living. And it is extremely difficult because when you're not independent, you don't have somebody that's giving you a financial backing. All the money that we use comes from our pocket or from different type of events or initiatives that we create, and we use that money to flip it and be able to, invest it back into the art. And the struggle with that is just that you eat what you kill. If we're not out there doing anything, then we're not going to make any money. We don't just wake up and have somebody with a bag in front of us saying, here's the money, go out and do something. And, we'll break percentages off after the fact. It's all us doing together. And I have 3 partners. And, the bright side of it is we also don't have that pressure of having to pay people back. We go do what we need to do. We look at the plan and the format and say, okay, is this within our means? What's our expectations? If we fail, we fail. We pick up where we left off. And if it succeeds, we just find a way to be even bigger and better, whether it's, creating albums, creating events, or collaborating with other people on stuff.
And what would you say is the hardest part about being a rapper in today's climate and trying to break it into the industry?
The hardest part is everybody wants to be a rapper.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to be a rapper. But it's a business, So in order for you to be able to do this successfully, consistently, and be confident in doing it, is you have to understand that you are going to fail and you're not going to sit there and just pop, in a week's time. It takes for you to fall down multiple times, multiple months, multiple years, get up, dust yourself off, and do it again. I talk to a lot of younger rappers who, for me, like my music is more mature than those who are trying to break out in the industry and, get a single popping on TikTok or something like that. And when I have these conversations with them, they don't understand how much, hard work it takes. Their thing is always, I could really make it, I could really pop. And it's like, well, you could, but if you got one song that kind of catches fire in the summer and, it catches fire for those 3 months, and you don't have a follow-up and you don't have a backup plan, you could actually lose more money, even though you're, I guess, now popular, right? So then you got a bunch of people that had like street hit records, but
one hit wonders.
Yeah, and we see them every day. So then you see them working at the grocery store. You're like, what happened? I thought you was on. Nah, I just had a moment and I didn't know how to capitalize on it. So for me, some of the people that I may see as potential fans or people that might follow me, they might think, well, he's not able to make music or be successful in the same level as this person or that person. But I ain't broke when it comes to this, music business. Like I'm doing pretty well in terms of, selling merch and selling music, doing shows. And that's because I've been able to be business aligned first. So I'm able to see exactly, what my benchmark should be for the year, how much money I'm willing to put up, how much money that I expect to make back in return, and then stay focused on it and plan every single day.
Okay. So out of all of your projects, which album do you relate to and connect to the most? And why?
That I connect to the most. The one that I could probably say I connect to the most would be the Knots tape.
Oh, that was a good one.
Yeah, it's kind of a tie with that and the Sony Healing series, only because the Knots tape was kind of like the story of my life and some of the things that I went through that I was scared to even discuss with other people. Just some of the things that I had to endure and some of the struggles that I had, just growing up in the streets and, juggling my own feelings, emotions, and with not the proper guidance. And then with the Sony's Healing series, it was kind of like with those two EPs, this is now me as an adult, and now I'm dealing with different type of struggles and trying to figure out emotional intelligence and relationship intelligence and, trying to juggle those real adult life experiences while, making my way through this journey and navigating the journey of being an artist at the same time.
I really did. I like the Knox tape a lot, and I felt like it was really giving Nas vibes when I was listening to it the whole time. So, since we're speaking about your projects, so let's say if I'm a new fan, right, and you had to recommend one song in order for me to be a fan, what song would you put me on?
Yeah, my homie in the back, he was saying that we were thinking the same thing. The first song that I was probably introduced to them is called Breathless. Not only because of the sound of it, I think it really speaks to my personality. It also speaks to how I navigate my life in this duality. And if you expand even beyond that and look at the visual of it, it speaks to just how my life is, being in the streets and, trying to talk to the homies in the hood and at the same time wearing this professional hat to where, I'm trying my best to align myself with my competitors and peers in academia. So I think they would get a really good idea of what they would hear with not only my future endeavors in music and songs and projects, but some of the things that I've done in the past as well.
So it's a balance of both then.
Definitely.
Okay. So are you familiar with our podcast and our Black Business Challenge?
Correct.
So every Friday we highlight a Black business from Jersey. So have you supported any Black business that you want to shout out, or do you could shout out your own business?
Yeah, shout out my business, man.
And let our listeners know.
Yeah, True and Living LLC. We event production company. Actually, we're a production company overall. We basically curate any ideas that people may have, whether that be things that they want to do in a digital space, the physical space, or the music space. And our signature event called Where Beats Meet Bars that we have every couple of months now. It's pretty much going to be quarterly. Used to be monthly. The next one's going to be happening on March 5th. Sorry, it's going to be happening on March 30th in Kearney, New Jersey. And we also have a R&B acoustic experience happening on March 5th in Jersey City, New Jersey.
And how can we support you? How can we listen to your music? How can we support True and Living? Shout out to your Instagram and all your handlers.
I'm everywhere, QuisChandla, Instagram, Twitter. I'm still trying to figure out TikTok, but I'm there, trying my best.
It's honestly just takes consistency. And once you're consistent with it, you'll be fine.
Yeah. And then I got a website for the creatives.co/Quis, which I have a mailing list there. I have a bunch of different things in terms of merch, music, videos, and upcoming shows. And then follow True and Living LLC, spelled out like this, which is with LLC at the end, and Where Beats Meet Bars. And that's everything that I got going on. We got some really, really dope things happening in 2023 that I'm really excited about. I know I took a kind of, not a little bit of a break in terms of creating, but a break in terms of we had to sit down and kind of plan some things out thoroughly. So we're gonna start, really getting some steam behind a lot of the stuff that we have going on. So I can't wait for everybody to see what we got in store.
And I can't wait to see it too. I will definitely support. You got the podcast support. We will link you to our network so you are a part of the TMP fan. And we appreciate you so much for joining us on our second episode. And happy Black History Month.
Happy Black History Month, right? I was thinking about, a bunch of different events that they got going on this month, and I was like, I gotta find a way to try to attend at least, for the majority of the month, these different spaces, the creative events that they have going on. So yeah, I'm excited about that.
I am too. And thanks again.
Thank you.